instruments, you've got to answer 5 questions. The questions start out at the very beginning of the game, real simple, but as time goes on, just like the game Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, they get more difficult. By the time you get to the vicinity of Mars, you've really got to know your stuff to have access to your spacecraft instruments and systems. And so the game's afoot. It's played in 5 stages. There's the preparation stage, there's a departure and transit stage, there's a descent and landing stage, the discovery stage, and the return stage. Well, you're almost to Mars now, almost at the end of the transit, and you begin preparations for descent. You've already made a decision where you want to land, but how do you know it's right? Well, you're given a hint at the beginning where the finding is, where the discovery is that we want you to bring back. But it's just a hint. You're going to have to figure out where that finding is, or you might end up landing on the wrong side of the planet. As the weeks go by in the game, and there are 12 of them, the game is played in 1/10 real time. 3 months as opposed to a 30-month real-time mission that would take place. As each week goes by, you'll tune in at the end of the week to the Discovery Channel. Discovery Channel will do a 15-minute piece on the game, profiles of the players,
and then drop a hint where you're supposed to land.
The entire Los Angeles basin inside, with room to spare. The rim stands almost as high above the valley floor as Mount Everest on Earth. Inside, the canyon twists and turns in a stream-like way. Geologists think this side canyon was born as groundwater escaped and the surface collapsed.
If you listen closely, if you watch closely, you'll figure it out early where you've got to land. That'll give you a leg up on everybody else, because the last thing you want to do is go 3,000 kilometers in a rover from Olympus Mons to Candor Chasma, because you landed in the wrong place. And so, amidst the hubbub, the battling with the other teams, possibly the battling with your other teammates, trying to figure out where to go, answering the questions, you're finally ready for descent. Are you going to do an aero capture? Are you going to do a thruster descent with airbags? How are you going to come down? You have to have thought carefully about that as well. As the preparations for the landing begin and descent begins and you enter the atmosphere, the thin atmosphere of Mars, 100th of hours, one of your instruments shows an icon of your spacecraft in the crosshairs of a profile. You've got to make a bunch of S-turns. You've got to bleed off your energy. You've got to get to that point that you need to be in, closest to the finding. So now you're flying that sucker in, watching the alpha Mach meter build up to G level, 1G, 3Gs, 5Gs, 7Gs, steering the icon of your ship through the heading alignment circle on the screen. 1 S-turn, 2 S-turn. And out the windows, you see the clouds separate. You hear the retros fire. You see the chutes break.
What a ride. Now, take a deep breath. You're about to enter an unbelievable world without a minute to spare, and there's lots of things to do. First, you've got to exit your spacecraft in your spacesuit. Then,
you've got to build a habitat. Or, perhaps, you decided you wanted one landed before you got there. Something that would make fuel for the return. Something of your own design. That would get you more points for being creative. Whichever option you choose. The canned one, or the creative one. You're finally out the door. What next?
I'm trying to put it back on. We did okay with the roof ended, you know? Yeah, those have been...
Now you've got to find the discovery. What is it? Where is it? Well, the discovery is going to change with each mission. Each quarter that the game is played, each 3-month period, it'll be a different one, in a different place. Perhaps it'll be beneath the surface, in a subterranean cave. Perhaps it'll just be a foot beneath the soil, permafrost. Something with some living microbes in it. Perhaps it'll be an ancient civilization, long departed. Or fossils. You won't know. More hints. More clues. Finally, you get there. You bag it. You isolate it. And you run back to your spacecraft in the hope of beating everyone else to the punch. And if you do,
if the rover you designed yourself starts and doesn't break down,
if you manage to blast off on a hail of flame from your pre-made methox fuel, and if you manage to get back to Earth before everyone else, without too many penalty points, you'll have earned the right to do it all over again. At the end of the year. This time against the other winners for the grandest prize of all. Something only your imagination can fathom. A visit to Space Station Alpha. Oh, by the way, I neglected to tell you a couple of things. You'll need to tell us how much your mission is going to cost, and guess the setting, the year it's going to take place in. If you run out of money, then we know how much it's really going to cost. Or if you choose a technology that hasn't been invented yet and has no chance of making it by the year the mission takes place, you're toast. Sorry.